Masechta Menochos Daf Hey Amud Aleph. We're starting from the Mishnah. Zak the Mishnah. We don't bring the grain for the mincha from a fertilized field because the fertilizer doesn't cover all of the field, so therefore it's not going to be the best. Nor do we bring from an irrigated field where you have to keep on watering it because the wheat and the barley is inferior. You can't use it for the mincha. Not from wheat that grows around trees, because the trees, Levi, eats up the juice of the wheat, and therefore it's not going to be good enough wheat for the mincha. Him heavy, but if he did at the end bring it from one of these fields, kasha is going to be kasha b'diavad. How then does one work the land to produce the best grain? So he plows the first year without sowing in order to get rid of the bad grass. And then in the second year he sows it. So you want to kaidin lePesach it has to be before Pesach 70 days. If you count 70 days, 30 days before Pesach is Purim, that's Tesvav. You need 70 days. 30 days before Purim is Tu B'Shvat. Then you need 70 days. You need another 10 days. 10 days minus 15th of Shvat, 15 Shvat, is Hey Shvat. Silas Meruba. And he produces an abundance of 5 flour. Keitzad Baidek. How does he check? Keitzad Baidek. How does he? Says the Gemara. Keitzad. How does he work his land that it should be the best? It's not a Shana Yishani. He plows it the first year without sowing, and then in the second year he seeds it 70 days before Pesach, because that's when the sun in the winter time shines the strongest. The Shaila was Hechikama. How did the Mishnah say to do it? He plowed Levi. He plowed it the first year. He plowed the field the first year. Ushniya nada, and in order to get rid of the bad grass. Ushniya nada. In the second year, he plowed it again and then he would seed it. Oidilma, that's part of Shiloh 1, meaning that there was only one time of plowing. Oidilma, not a Shana. He did plow it the first year. Ushniya, and in the second year, he plows it again. I'm sorry, Ushniya. In the second year, he seeded it without plowing it. The first shot was that he plowed the first year and plowed it a second time, and then he seeded it. Or the second way is learning it that he only plowed it the first year to get rid of the bad grass. Then in the second year, he plowed it the first year. Second year, he only seeded it. Tashma, come in here and I'll answer you. The Tanya that was taught in the Brais, I'm Rabbi Yosi. Rabbi Yosi had said, also the barley and the wheat from the city of Chitik Hazayim and Kfar Achim. You have to read the Ilim Mali with a Yud. If it would have been these two cities close to Yerushalayim, they would bring the barley for the Eimah from them. Because we bring barley for the Kamema only from those fields that are on the Durham side of Eretz Yisrael, in the southern fields, and those that are plowed not for the sake, like Rashi says, not for the l'shem l'shma, not for the sake of making the best for. Be wise, for on them, on those fields on the Durham side, the sun rises and shines, and there the sun goes down. So Gemara Ketzad, he said, the Braisa continues. How does one work the land to produce the best grain? So Gemara another Shari Shaina. He plows it the first year, Ushniya, and then in the second year he plows it, meaning he repeats Chodesh V'Sheina. He repeats the Chirish a second time. And then he seeds after the second plow before Pesach, 70 days before Pesach, so that the growing period will be close to when the sun is at its greatest strength in the winter. In the winter time, when is it at its full strength? Hey Shvat, Ha'isa Kana Zeres V'Shibailas. And he does, not he does, but he says that the field will produce the size, Levi, this is Azeres. The size of Azeres, that's the height of the stalks. And then there's two, the V'Shibailas Zatayim. And the ears, where the kernels are, is 2 times this size, two zeres, or it's called zatayim. The koitza, and he cuts me, and he gathers v'dash, and he threshes the grain. And then he winnows it ubeiter, and he sifts it, and then he grinds it merakid, and he sifts it. And he brings it to the gabay of the Beis Hamikdash. The gizma machnas yodai, and the gabbai sticks his hand in it. Now, if there was the dust that came up in his hand when he stuck it in, so he says to the person who's doing it, go back and sift it a second time. And that, because the dust is inferior to the flowers, it's not good. In the name of Rabbi Nosson was said, that the Gabbai smears his hand with oil, and he sticks his hand in it, until he brings up it, all the dust will stick to his hand, and only the good food remains. We learn over here, in any event, what does the Brisa state? That he plows it and repeats the plowing a second time. So we see the plowing was done twice. He said, you want all the time, according to your reasoning. Mas Nissen, like Katani Shaina, our Mishnah did not, there's no proof. According to your reasoning, there's no proof. Mas Nissen, like Katani Shaina, our Mishnah doesn't say, befinish, he repeats the plowing a second year. But I say Katani Shaina. Only the Brisa says befinish that he repeats it. So you have no raya. Says, you want to kasha, that's not a kasha. Kamba, Buddha here in the Mishnah, the reason why the field needs a second plowing, because it needs only one plowing, because the field was already worked on, cultivated already. So therefore, you don't need twice in the second year. Kam sheina avoda. But there in the Bryce where it says you need a second plowing twice in the second year, because the field wasn't cultivated. What will be the halach on this matter? Meaning, how often does a field have to be plowed in the second year? So you want Tashma come in here? I'll give you a proof. It was taught in the Braisa. In the first year, one plows the whole entire field and leaves half of it empty, and then sows it. It sows only half of the field, and then and then in the second year he plowed it again. And meaning that he sowed the second half in the second year. Said, so what do we see from here? So from here we learn out that in the second year a field requires only to seed it, the one plowing for the seeding. You don't need 2 plowings. We bring barley for the Omer only from those southern fields that are in Eretz Yisrael, because those southern fields, the sun rises and shines on those fields, on those southern fields in Eretz Yisrael, and from them, on those fields, the sun sets. Araya to this, Avashol, barley for the Oima offering would come from the valley of Beis Makla. Kevash Sholish Soyin Hoisa. The field was the area of 3 Soyin, and they took one side of the 3 Soyin that grew over there. That Sada was a southern field. And on that field the sun would rise and shine, and on that field the sun would set. In the first year he would plow it and sow half the field, and then in the second year he would plow once and sow the second half of the field. So here you see that's what they use that's the barley that they use for the karmaima. So the Gemara brings a story of why it was so efficient to do half every year. Rav Chilkiah bar Tuvi Havelei Kana the Aram. Rav Chilkiah bar Tuvi had a corner plot of land in the southern location of Eretz Yisrael. Near Chetzia V'Zara Chetzia. He plowed the entire field half and left half unplowed. The second year, Near Chetzia V'Zara Chetzia. The next year, he again plowed the whole field and only did Levi, and he only sowed the second half of the field. And because of that, because of this method, the field gave twice the amount of produce and twice the quality. And he sold the grain for the best wheat quality for our shear, for wealthy people. It was the finest quality. In the Mishnah we said if the flour became wormy, so it's permanently puzzle. Fine flour that the majority became wormy is puzzle, or and wheat kernels whose majority became wormy are puzzle. When we say Reiv Chita, doesn't mean each individual kernel, wheat kernel, had to be 3/4 wormy. So we're talking about the individual chitas had to be wormy. So it means no, of all the kernels together, there was a majority that was wormy, but there were a minute that was not wormy. Teiku. So if a person made hegdish the wormy wheat kernels, what is the halacha whether he should get malkis for the isa of bringing a blemished carbon? Keeping the seal, do we say since the mincha is now possible, kibal mum dummy as a din like a regular behemoth that has a mum, which you get malkis for bringing such a behemoth as a carbon? Or perhaps the whole concept of balmum getting malchus is only by behema. Teiku. Non hasim we learned in the Mishnah called Eidshanin Tzabay Talas. Any wood which a worm is found, pasul agab mizbeich is pasul, regard to use for the mizbeich. Shmuel said leishon elalach. This was only regarding if the wood was wet or moist. Avol yavish, however, if the wood was dry, then he can scrape and remove the wormy section, and the remainder is going to be of the wood is going to be kosher. If a person was makdish the wormy wood for the mizbeach, what is the din? Shouldn't we see malchus for bringing wood as a carbon for the mizbeach, which is wormy, so it's considered as a mum, bringing a mum, and he should get malchus. Keeping the pasuk about mum dami, since it's possible it has a din, like bringing a behemoth which has a mum. Perhaps ain't babum, el behemoth. Perhaps the concept of babum is only by behemoth. So you want to take the oil of tekoya, alpha l'shaman, is the best oil. The oil of the Menochos should come from tekoya because it's alpha l'shaman, the best of shaman. Abba Shaul says, the second best of oil is the Regev that was on the other side of the Yadmo. It's called Transjordan. All the lands were valid for the oil. But from here, they would bring the oil. And not bring oil from olive trees of a fertilized field, like we said in the Mishnah, because fertilizer doesn't get fertilized all over, or it has the taste and smell of fertilizer in it. But not from the field that you have to water the fields. It doesn't come from rainwater, so it's inferior. The olive oil. nor from olive trees that between the olive trees there were wheat, and the wheat took away the juice from the tree. If one brought from these sources, from the above mentioned sources, kosher, it's going to be kosher with the Eved. Zog the Mishnah, Mavim an pikote. We do not bring an pikoten oil. The Gemara will say later what it is. But if he brought such oil, kosher, it's going to be kosher with the Eved. We do not bring oil from olive berries that were soaked. Shanishu, that was soaked in water. Nor from pickled olives. Nor from boiled olives. And if he did bring from such type of oil, possible, it's going to be possible. It says in the Mishnah Torah that the city of Tekaya had the best oil. So the Gemara is now going to bring you a story that when they get to the city of Tekaya, Yoav tried to make peace between David and Avshalom, his son. Avshalom was put in exile for killing Amnon. So Yoav wanted to try to make peace. So he brought this smart woman from Tekaya, and she gave us a mashal, in which David accepted and took back Avshalom. What is unique about the city of Tekaya? Because the people of Tekaya regularly consume olive oil. Wisdom is found in them. The Torah states he dips his foot in oil. This was the portion of Asher that Moshe Rabbeinu benched them, where oil flows like a spring. Amru. So they said that to illustrate the above, they told this story. One time the people of Lutkia needed oil. They appointed for themselves a shliach who was a guy. They said to him, go and bring us a million worth of zuz worth of oil. He went to Yerushalayim. Once he came to Yerushalayim, they told him, let's go to the people of Tzayir, go to them. I'm sorry, the local residents of said, go to the place of Tzayir. This guy the shliach went to Tzayir. And the people of Tzayir told him to go to Gush Chalav. Gush Chalav is the name of a place located in the Shevet Asher. Gush Chalav. He went to the place of Gush Chalav, and the people of Gush Chalav told him, go to so and so of this certain field. And they saw this person; he was acting like a pauper, and he found that this Jewish farmer was digging and hoeing under the olive trees, like a regular worker. Amalei. So the shliach said to him, do you have a million zuz worth of oil which I need? Amalei. He said, wait till I finish my work. So the shliach waited till he finished his work. If he finished his work, the farmer tied up his tools and threw them over his shoulder like a regular worker. He looked like a pauper, and was clearing the stones from the field on the way home. For the little, like he owns one tree, he was taking care of that tree, like that's the only one he owns. They asked him, do you have a million zuz worth of oil? He says, the shliach thought to himself, hey, it seems like these Jews are making a joke out of me. However, when the Jewish farmer reached to the city, the maidservant brought out to him a small kettle of hot water, and he washed his hands and his feet in it. And then he brought out to him a golden basin filled with oil. And he dipped his hands and his feet in it. To fulfill literally what it says, that in Ash, the bracha, that they will dip their feet into the oil. If they ate and they drank, the farmer measured for the shliach 1,000,000 zuz worth of oil. Maybe you need more. Amalei said, "Hey, yes, I don't have money. If you want to take more oil, I'll go with you to get my payment." The agent agreed, and the farmer measured for him another 180,000 zuz worth of oil. Amru, the local people, that after he did this crazy transaction, that shliach did not leave no animal, no horse, no mule, no camel, no donkey in the land of Israel that wasn't rented. He needed all the taxis to carry the load. Once the agent, the shliach, reached to the city, the men of the city came out to praise him for this great purchase. He said to them, don't praise me, only to the one that came in with me. For he measured for me 1,000,000 zuz worth of oil, and behold, he's claiming now for another 180,000 zuz that he gave me additional oil. This incident is to fulfill this that it says, Yesh misasher ve'enko. There's such people who give the impression of being wealthy and they have nothing. And then you have misasher ve'en rav. And then you have those people who give the impression that being poor, but they have a tremendous wealth.